Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2, and I'm back again with another movie review. Believe it or not, it's a Bollywood film, which, if you don't know me, I do watch some Bollywood films, and I do enjoy Bollywood. I wanted to see Rowdy Rathore when it first arrived. Well, it's harder to get a film from India over here unless you go to a cinema where they play films that are originally done in Hindi and subtitled in English, and it's just really difficult to do unless you go all the way to the middle of nowhere just to see a film that you could wait to get on DVD, which is what I did. And I got this for myself as a Christmas present, and I must say I absolutely adored it. I thought that it was nothing short of phenomenal. It was superb. Everything about it was perfectly done. It was like every musical number, one right after the other, was better than the last, and it's just amazing. And it's got a lot of humor in it, which is interesting for an action adventure film. And one of my favorite Bollywood actors of all time, Akashay, he plays two of the characters. He plays Vikram Rathore, and I'm sorry, but he does that. It's just hysterical. And Shiva, and they're two characters who have similar looks, but they have entirely different lives. And this is a little bit of the synopsis. Vikram Rathore is a man who is a badass. He just doesn't take any guff from anybody, and he doesn't tolerate any malarkey. He means business, and he is the law, and he takes the law into his own hands. And at some point in time, you have this man named Babaji who controls a large area of property. He's sort of like the overlord of it, and he has control of whatever he wants, all the women he wants, or men too, because they kind of hinted that later in the film. I thought that was really unusual. You don't really see that a lot in Bollywood. It's very subtle though. But Babaji is just consumed with his own power, and Rowdy, well, figure out why his call name is Rowdy Rathore later on. But he takes the law into his own hands and puts a whooping on him, and he just opens a can of whoop butt all over these people, and it's just unreal. These fighting scenes are just absolutely sensational, and it reminded me quite a bit of Chandi Chook to China, but this movie was better. I know Chandi Chook was panned, because a lot of people say, oh, it's just too silly, and it just didn't really get the good marks that it deserved. But I like Chandi Chook quite a bit, just because I love Akashay, and it's one of my favorites. But it is not in the same league as Rowdy Rathore. Rowdy Rathore is one of the most amazing films I have ever seen, and it combines the martial arts, all the fighting scenes that you would expect. Well, it's like East meets West, and it's really incredibly done, and the colors and the song and dance scenes are absolutely gorgeous, and like you would expect in a typical Bollywood film. And I really enjoyed all that. I thought that it was really remarkable and wonderfully done, very entertaining. Akashay is he is a really tremendous actor, and his character, Shiva, he has a co-conspirator named 2G, and 2G only gets a third of, well, he hardly gets anything at all, because when they split their money up after he's done making thefts, this would be Shiva splits it for himself, Lord Krishna, and another share for himself, and none for 2G. So I felt really bad for Chi, but it was very amusing. It's just a hysterical film. There are some very serious moments in this movie as well. I won't go into it, but it's the whole plot of the movie itself, and you have to keep yourself on your toes with the different characters, will be the fact that you've got Vikram Rathore, who's long since thought to be dead, and Babaji wants revenge, and you figure out why this is. They go back to the past, and you discover why Babaji is so irate over Vikram Rathore and his defiance of death, and why Vikram has to be careful when he fights, and all this sort of thing. And then you realize there is an interesting character development with Shiva. Shiva hates kids. He absolutely loathes them. He can't stand to be around them. He calls them the spawn of Satan and all that. And at one point in time, they're at the train station, he and Tuji, and they meet this woman whom they think is the goddess Lakshmi, and they actually show coins coming out of her hand and everything, which I thought was just hilarious. And they do this in such a way that it's really funny. They have a lot of scenes that are like this, that are just hysterical in and of themselves, and they just rack you with laughter, and it's just so funny. They take the treasure chest from her, and they have these visions of being on a yacht and on an island, and having it all, just living it up. He and Tuji just living the life of Riley, and and they later have an encounter with a police officer, and they find out that there's a young girl in it. Of course, earlier you figure out who the young girl belongs to, and she actually, her name's Chinky. She belongs to Vikram. Vikram is her father, and that's why she's been calling Shiva Daddy or Papa. And of course, Shiva at first believes that this cramps his style. Things become a little bit more interesting, and this also kind of puts a damper on his romantic relationship with Paro. And Paro is this girl he's been mooning after, kind of courting her. It's very romantic, actually, the way he does it. He does it in a very surreptitious way too. He's very clever, and he just is a rogue in the way he does this. He's a very crafty, sly rogue, in that the fact that he says, if you find yourself thinking about me every hour of the day, then you'll have to assume that you're in love with me. It's earlier in the movie. And he puts himself into scenes where he knows where she will be, and he dresses up as the waiter, or he puts himself in a car as a cabbie, or he walks across the street in another hat and sunglasses. So he's nabbed her. He's just so cool. But well, I won't say what happens between Chinky and Shiva, because it's very, very sweet, and there's one part that just really tears your heart out. But I won't talk about that part because it's a little bit of a shock, and I was a little bit surprised, but after I've seen a lot of Bollywood films, I know that they have some sorrowful moments that are involved. As far as Bollywood films are concerned, I would put this up there with Three Idiots. I absolutely love this movie. It's very uplifting. It's different than Three Idiots because there's a lot of fighting and violence, and there's quite a bit of blood, which I was surprised with. There is some full frontal nudity in this. It's just with the little kids. It's nothing really objectionable. It's when they're playing cricket outside of Shiva's house. This is really a funny part. You have 2G. He's been praying to Lord Krishna. He's praying over the ATM machine. He's praying over different objects of the house and ringing his bell and bringing the good blessings, vibrations. And you have these kids are playing cricket outside their dwelling place, their lair, as you will, where they've kept all their stolen goods. and you hear this crash, and they come into their house. Excuse me. And they come into their house, and he says, "Ah, out with you! Out! 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 Get out before I boil you alive, and before I boil you alive in some stew." And of course, these kids are not wearing anything. They're just, buck naked. And there really isn't anything wrong with it. I mean, they're just kids. They're cute. And then I'm like, oh, they're so adorable. They're cute little kids. And he's like, nah. This his expression in that scene is enough for the movie itself. And it makes the movie even funnier. And, of course, he's put pieces of cotton into 2G's ear, so 2G can't hear anything. He's like, "Oh, thank Lord Krishna. He hasn't said anything horrible about these kids. I haven't heard him complain. Oh, it's a miracle." And you see him light the cotton, and then you hear 2G scream like a little girl, and it's just hilarious. But yeah, I'll be there in a moment, okay? I will be there in a moment. I will be there in a moment. Thank you. Jeez. Put in your hearing aids. Sorry. I don't know why he can't hear me, but, sometimes I have to yell at him. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, Rowdy Rathore in itself, 5 stars, and 2 thumbs way up. And if you're a fan of Akashay Kumar, I would certainly recommend this, because I think this is one of his best films I've ever seen. I like the female lead with him. I hadn't seen her before, so I wasn't really familiar with her. I'm only familiar with Akashay. I really, I just, I savor his work immensely. And I was just trying to think of what else. The music is well worth it in the movie. It's really lively and upbeat and catchy. Even the song that Babaji has sung by his many consorts and concubines, and the hip shaking. Yeah, that was fabulous. Actually, it's very, very, very catchy. I'm not really sure what else to say about it, other than I love the colors, I love the music, I love the atmosphere, the story, the characters, and just the combination. This is potpourri. This is not just one genre of film, which makes it all that more likable, and just a little bit something different from the norm, I think. And it's really just a extraordinary film, and very, very entertaining. Maybe considered a little bit bloody for some, but it's really not so bad, over our movie like Django Unchained, which was extremely bloody, but I really loved it. But there are actually a lot of similarities between that and this, except there really was no singing and dancing. That would be really weird if that happened. But other than that, I can say that this is a movie that you must see if you are an Akashay fan. So that's about all I have to say. So I shall see you next time. Bye.